you take this existence with too much seriousness. We can all remember times where we were somewhat overly invested in things that had no real meaning, meaning that we tend to care about things that we aren't supposed to. I feel like knowing when to care is a life-changing skill to have. And in this, I will go over what we know as care and what we need to do to be better. First of all, how we care is selfish at first. The initial care we have is only in relation to the self. The problem is we only truly care when things somewhat impact us. But if this is a natural thing, how is it bad? I don't think it's natural in the slightest. Who we are is not just us, but those around us, as well as our environment and circumstance. It's the entrapments of a society so resolute on poisoning those who live within it. And the way they poison us is by showing us an antidote to something we didn't know was poison. Think of all the propaganda of the modern world and our main issue, that in a time of peace, the militant man will attack himself. I say this quote so often in my videos because it contains so much truth. Focus on how we are so much, and this is because society is kind of forcing self-introspection in the negative way. They force us to see what we lack rather than what we have in relation to others. An example of this would be something like the self-betterment or image-improving industry. The entire premise of finding comfort in your own skin is often thrown out the window by the mass. Instantiation of things that imply otherwise make up for when we're supposed to, promote natural beauty. Personal training, dieting. We're supposed to love how we are, and I feel like the mass promotion or the prescription of these certain things is enforcing the idea that you aren't, what you should be. And of course, if it gets to like a life-threatening degree, then of course those things are valid. But there are people who are trying to maintain somewhat of like a image that's uncharacteristic of what a natural human is supposed to be like. I think too much of what we care about is not created by us. Rather, people who think they speak for all of us when they really speak for a select few. We've gotten too used on trying to care, or caring about things that don't truly matter. World issues, most of them don't pertain to us. And that's not to say we shouldn't worry about them. I think if any major issue should be worried about, it should be moral. Worry about the state of the world, worry about the state of how you interact with people, because that's all that is. We don't realize the power that we have in our possessions, because a lot of the stuff we have is, irreplaceable but free. Like family, love, social life, friends, sometimes education, all of that stuff is free. We get it without even asking. But the things at which that we pay for, that we find valuable, that we strive for, those are really the cheapest things. Those can be replaced very easily, when the stuff that we're given to that's for free is not. What matters in reality is how you care and feel about yourself. Not in like a narcissistic way, but in a way that everyone should be caring and perceptive of how they interact in nature and what they need to do in order to be a better person. You don't blame a bush for not being as tall as a tree. Not that some people aren't meant to be great. I'm just saying that rather everyone's growth is in reference to themselves. If you only focus on the growth of others, it'll always seem like you aren't growing, or everything that you're doing is ultimately worth. I think a lot of us aren't too goal oriented. We have goals, but we're not focused on them. Society throws a lot of stuff in our face that we're not supposed to be, constantly worried about, that we choose to worry about in order to stop us from achieving what we want to. Not to say that society is like some big hand that's trying to physically stop us, but there are so many distractions out there that stop us from achieving what we need to. I think that at some points nothing really matters, but that's what allows you to prescribe meaning to things that you think matter. Like, society tells us to care about so much, and I feel like a lot of us vest a lot of ourselves into the lives of other people. And it's okay to have empathy, compassion, sympathy. Those are completely different. But when we're worried about like the daily, like how the thing I struggle with is, too much caring about how people feel about other people. When ultimately that has nothing to do with me. Um, I feel like a lot of us try to be a mediator towards everything in our life, and a lot of our stuff doesn't need us for it. I feel like it's kind of narcissistic in a way to think that you have control or you're responsible for these large things. And that's why I feel like narcissism kind of goes both ways, and like not caring about others and also thinking that others need you or you're something that needs to, care for others, or that people like need you specifically. Hmm. For the only thing in this life that we will ever be able to control is ourselves. And when and where we interact with the world around us. We don't have anything in this life guaranteed unless we do it for ourselves. Um, we have to be our own lighter and candle, and you won't ever be, stuck in darkness.